Okay, so this session is called Get Visible, and it's building brand stories that we love. I've already had some issues with my clicker, so don't be surprised. Oh, hi. This is me. So this screen is pretty small, but what it says is that I run an influencer marketing agency called Gild Creative Group. I also have a creator startup called Represent, and I'm self-funded. I also have grown the agency from 2020 about over 300 times in sales. So we're making a little money here as an independent agency. Thank you. And have all of the certificates, have all of the just receipts and credibility around building an influencer marketing company from the beginning, especially when it wasn't even called that. Creator marketing was something new. It wasn't even called this work. It was just like knowing how to move culture and what you wanted to do out of that. The other thing that I am is a former adjunct professor at NYU's Stern and Tisch schools. So this presentation is going to be given like a professor. So you will have homework, don't worry. There is a pop quiz, and it's coming at you in just one moment. At my agency, and just a personal value system of mine, we believe that, intuition is a skill set. We believe that when you're moving through this world, you really have to dig into like what it is that you know and like really lean into that. We believe that relationships are the ROI. So when you're in influencer marketing, that is one of the biggest aspects of why you're successful, is that people learn to trust you and learn to trust their brand with you. And marketing is nuanced by culture. The things that we do and the things that we see out in the world is nuanced by what we believe and what our identity is. And we also believe that our well-being is valuable. And I see y'all too. I'm really curious about, folks that are in the room right now, but we know that you're interested in, getting the highest margin merchandise. I know that you guys are on trend with products. You're also probably doing influencer marketing right now. You're focused on driving conversions, driving sales, and we know that you guys are ambitious entrepreneurs. So we have something in common. So this is the pop quiz. This is what I wanted to get y'all ready for. So on a scale of 1 to 5, you can just put the numbers up in the air. How important is your brand to you? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, level up, level up. I want us to have fun, guys. This is going to be a fun day today. Okay. So how important is your brand to your client? 5? I got a couple 5s in the house. Okay. Who has a brand guide? Who here has built, just raise your hand, who's built a brand guide before? I will take branding and imaging kit. It has your fonts, your logos, your vibe. Okay. Accepted. That is accepted. Okay. Who believes that a brand narrative, your brand narrative, can drive your sales? All right. This isn't in there, but how many of y'all have that? Okay. Interesting. A lot of you raised your hands, but when I said how many of you had it, you were like, ooh. Okay. So next poll question. Could your client draw your logo? Just out of memory? Yes? A couple people? Awesome. Could your client recite your mission or your value prop? Do they know why you're here? Anybody? Okay. And I would love it if you would just shout some of the brands that you love that you're like, oh, I ride for that brand. Like some people are like, Nike all day. Like, what are y'all's brands? Like Disney, that's a good one. Michael Kors, okay, she likes luxury. And that's the only one. Apple, there's some people that get Apple came out and all of a sudden their identity was wrapped around Apple. We see people lining up for tennis shoes at the stores. Then remember when people would line up for iPhones? Do y'all remember that? I was like, oh, okay, it's that deep. It's that serious. It's that deep. Okay, now do you know why you love the brands that you love? Ooh, who say yes? Tell me why. Tell me why. It's a new kind of show now. Yeah, why do you love Michael Kors? It's like relatable luxury. So you like Michael Kors, it's the relatable luxury. You know it ain't gonna break. You don't have to be precious with it. So you were saying like, it's like me. You don't have to be too precious with me. Right. So she likes, I understand. She's like, I'm not too flashy. I'm not too out there. Like, I'm gonna wear this luxury. I'm gonna keep it cute. I think they call it quiet luxury these days. Yeah, I think they call it quiet luxury, so you're into it for that. Anybody else? Okay. You like flash. She likes it flashy. She's like Gucci down to the socks. Okay, I got you. All right, so we're gonna talk a little bit about what is branding, and just the power of branding. So branding, it's been around for a long, long time, and really what we know is that it started as a way of like you know, burning something into wood, and then, you know, the farmers were like, oh no, my cattle is going somewhere else and someone's stealing my stuff, and they started burning their brand into the cattle so that you can see it. If you've ever seen Yellowstone, y'all remember those parts? And then they also started, you know, burning other things. So, but today it's about how you show up in the world. How do you show up in the world? Your branding, your story, this is how you show up in the world. This is how people get to know you. This is how people want to be connected to you. And if you're doing it well, then as someone who sells things, whether it's product, goods, services, then you're able to say like, you can let other people do the work for you. Just like she talked about Michael Kors. Michael ain't here nowhere. He didn't tell her to do anything. But yeah, but word of mouth, people's connection to your brand is the way that they get, the way that you make a sale. So it starts working on your behalf. So the economics of trust. This is pretty simple, but truly the more you trust something, it is the speed at which you can acquire that customer, and it costs you less to do that. And that is what we're all here to really do and really understand. So the inverse is true as well. When people don't trust you, or they haven't trusted you yet, I'm gonna add the yet there because that's important, then that also means it costs you more. It costs you more, and it takes a long time to get that trust. But once it's there, it's there. And when that trust is broken, it's gonna cost them to get you back. Quick little story about my coworker here. Starbucks is not her friend right now because the cup folded in on her medicine ball hot tea and scarred her. So she's like, you know what, Starbucks, you're gonna have to stay over there and we're gonna talk about this in a minute. It might take her a minute to get back into that. Now she's going to Phil's Coffee. She's going to Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. She's doing everybody else's coffee now. Starbucks just lost her business because the trust was broken. So we have the power to change like what the customer acquisition cost can be based on how much we're investing in how we're building trust. So our goal is always, if the difference between your brand and your customer, the space between, shout out to Dave Matthews, if y'all remember that, space between, is the tactics, the influencer marketing, the media, all of that is to do one thing. It's to build an emotional bond with your customer so that you're able to actually catch them. So marketers will often talk about getting in the funnel. So in my world, in influencer marketing, I'm usually at the top of the funnel. I'm usually like doing the brand awareness, bringing influencers in to talk about the brand, talk about the story, and the marketer on the other side of the brand is they need to pull those people that were attracted to that product, they have to pull them through their funnel. And so once you have somebody pulled into your funnel, you keep them. You keep them through their email marketing, you can keep them through retargeting on Facebook, doing ads, whatever the case may be, but they're pulled through the funnel and you've had them. So a simple case is, Starbucks knows I'm in their funnel deep. You know, I got the app, I get their little funky emails, I'm in their funnel. So they know that they can reach me and potentially get me to see something or do something because they already have me in their funnel. So our job is to make sure we understand how we're building emotional bonds from our brand to our customer using these tactics, using influencer, social, whatever those tactics are, and getting good at that. But before we do that, we have to understand why we're doing it. Like, what is our business about? Why are we in this business? What are we really here to do? And what is the story that brands believe about that business? What makes you different? What makes your eyeglass case better than the next person's eyeglass case? And does it have some type of authentic story? The other thing I want to ask is, who gets to tell your story? That's the biggest question. I really love this question. Who gets to tell your story? Because once you understand that, there's many ways that you can integrate those people. Is it your customers? Is it your employees? Is it influencers that you gave free things to but never bought anything from you? Like, who gets to tell your story? And what values are you spotlighting when you're telling that story? Which means doing the backup work and figuring out, what do we value? And does your customer know what you value? Because we can say Disney, we can say Starbucks, we can say Michael Kors, all this stuff, because at some level, we've identified a value that brand has that makes sense for us. So this is a fun game I like to play too. Like, who would your brand be best friends with? Thinking about your values, thinking about how you show up in the world. Who is your brand celebrity BFF? It's like they go together. They're going to Disney World together. They're getting coffee. They're going on the Greenway and walking. They're showing up at the red carpet being like, ew. Like, who's your celebrity BFF and what values do you share? Anybody got some ideas? Because I'll share mine. My favorite student. Yes, ma'am. Zendaya. Okay, Zendaya, she's versatile, she's open, she's authentic. Now, what is your brand? Okay. So, what's your name? Raven. Raven's brand is all about mental health advocacy. She pushes for people to be their true selves, show up, be aware of their state. Zendaya seems to mirror that a bit, especially in the roles that she plays and then who she's outside of. That's interesting. Oh, you deserve to be here is their motto. That, I think, the way Zendaya came in with that, like, did y'all see that little costume she had for Dune 2? She deserved to be there. She rocked that. You have to be pretty brave. Anybody else? Yes? Celebrity BFF? The t-shirt is your brand. God opens doors. I love that. Okay, and what was the celebrity BFF? Brian Courtney? Oh, I love Brian Courtney. Okay, nice. That's a gospel singer. And he definitely represents that. Anybody else's brand? Yes, sir. That's your celebrity BFF? Oh, so you're saying Walt Disney. Oh, okay. And tell me more about your brand. Say it again? Oh, Reggie the Lion. Okay. Okay, so you're saying Walt Disney is your brand's BFF because... Okay, so Reggie the Lion is on his way to building an empire just like Mickey Mouse and... Well, wait, let me ask you something. Would Mickey Mouse be the celebrity BFF to Reggie the Lion? I got you. Because you the Walt in this scenario. I love it. Okay, got you. Anybody else? I love it. Yes. Bob Hope. Come on down. Okay, that is... I love that. Tell me about Bob Hope. Why Bob Hope? I'm on his plane. I'm on that track too. I'm gonna be back here 100 years from now. Like, remember me when? Bob Hope, and because your company is invested in people's well-being, getting the body tight, or untight, getting the massages, taking care of your body, that's your wealth, that's your health. You can live and grow because you've taken that out of your body. That's amazing. He would be a great ambassador for you if he was still here, huh? I love that, guys. So this is mine. I'll show you. Miss Tracy Ellis Ross would be my brand's BFF. And it's because we share some similar values. Empowerment and self-acceptance, super important, I think, in this world. We live in a world where everywhere you look, somebody's trying to tell you what you're not. So being able to know exactly who you are and staying focused on that is really a beautiful thing. Creativity and authenticity. equality and diversity. She stands for all of these things in everything that she does. And I think what's interesting about her too is like she's the daughter of a celebrity, Diana Ross, and so to be able to just still find your own lane, having that kind of, I mean, Diana Ross was part of the Supremes, like legendary status, and so being able to still hold your own and know who you are and hold on to that and build your own empire, I think that's really, really awesome. And my company, you know, with Gild Creative Group, Conscious Hustler is a sub-brand that I have around career coaching and mindful leadership. You know, this matters to us. I believe personally, that when we are using our social and creative capital, we can change the world. And so this is something I think she believes as well. And so then it's like, now you know the values that you share with different folks, now that you know what you believe in, like, where does it go? It goes everywhere. It goes into your logos and fonts. It goes into your product. It goes into how you present yourself on social media. It goes into your website, your clients, your employees, right? Like, whoever's working for you had better believe in what you believe about your business and how you show up in the world. You know, you can't take everybody with you, and you can't take everybody where you're going, but like, it's like kind of having that friend where you're going to that kind of special event, and then they show up and they looking crazy, and it's like, you're not dressed for the thing that we're going to. Like, is that what you're gonna wear? Have you ever told somebody that's like, is that what you're gonna wear? I think just maybe you should change, you know, like, you know, because you don't want to be that friend and have those conversations with your other friends like, who's that? Because they don't represent you, you know, in the way that you ought to be represented. So this shows up in language, literally the copy that is on your website, the copy that's in your pamphlets, on your tags, everywhere. And then also like the photography, the creative assets that you're using. How is this representing your brand, you know? So it literally goes with you everywhere. How you feel about your brand, your values, it goes with you everywhere. And I'm personally curious, actually, of this, who here feels like they have some work to do on their brand? Okay. For the low price of, I'm just kidding, I'm not selling y'all anything. I'm just kidding. But this is the other part about establishing your brand goals. So most of you are retailers, is that right? Wholesalers, retailers, anybody? Okay. But there's some service-based people in the house? Service-based? Okay. So with your brand goals and your marketing, what's also really important is to figure out what is that big KPI, what is that big focus? So what I've learned is that like e-commerce and product-focused brands, they're focused on attribution, they're focused on conversion, they want to make sure they get the sales. And so there's an appetite to focus on what is that customer experience and what is the result of that experience. So what is the testimony that somebody can talk about through that? The other piece of this is the customer or the consumer or service-based companies. So this is a company like mine, I'm a service provider. We're really interested in growing brand sentiment, we're interested in awareness, and we're interested in driving impressions. So like for my company, for instance, I'm an agency, so I sell services to brands like Victoria's Secret and Hulu and a bunch of other big brands that say, hey, Tiffany, we want you to work with us on building a strategy, so it's just my IP, to create a campaign, which is the production of that IP. And that's not something that like I can't just like put that on the internet and sell it on Shopify, right? Like I have to actually do some more work around that. And the result that I get isn't conversion per se, it's actually, does that customer come back to me? Does Hulu come back to me? Does Victoria's Secret come back to me? You know, what's the relationship? What's the connection? How did they feel about the process? You know, so these are the two ways when I'm thinking about the different businesses that are out there, like what we can be focusing on so that when we're doing our branding work, we can actually make sure that branding work is going across and we can say, okay, I know that's successful because I saw the sales in Shopify, or I know that's successful because I've gotten some feedback. So this is some of the metrics that you can, you know, write this down. This is some of the metrics you can use to figure out if you're being successful or not. So when we say reach, usually this comes from social, but also emails. Like how far did my voice travel? Like how many people did I reach? How many impressions? That usually comes from like, social as well. But like if you think about going into Times Square and seeing all those signs, signs like this big thing that's behind me, like you can say on average, 6 billion people walk through that's a lie, but like 3 million people walk through Times Square every day. And as a media buyer, I can tell someone that. And so they'll purchase an ad on a big Jumbotron because they get an impression, they get someone's eyeballs. The engagement rate, this in my world is probably one of the most important things because this is where we actually get to see who's engaged. Does somebody click, tap, post, comment, whatever. This is where we get to see if somebody did that work. And that engagement rate for those, if you're working with influencers, that's one of the things you definitely want to check out to see. They could have 6 billion followers, but if nobody's engaging with their content, are they going to be effective for you? Shares, that's also another part of engagement rate. Click link, sentiment, CPM, CPE. So basically, these are values, especially in media buying, that we use to make sure that we're figuring out if we're spending enough money to get the result that we want. Conversion or sales, and then also, and I never want to underestimate this, but your client, your influencer feedback, if there's something that's happening where people are telling you like, hey, this was really well, this worked really good, or this didn't, these are things that we want to know about. Oh. And I'm curious, like I think these are some pain points, but I'm curious to know if these are some of your pain points, or what is some of your pain points in your business right now. It might be implementing personal experiences at scale. It might be just building an engaged community so that you can probably sell. It might be even balancing, the customer service with efficiency. And, sometimes it is about people and people management. Like, I don't have enough people to do customer service at the level that I want to do it at, or it might be just consistent brand storytelling. Is anybody willing to share what their biggest pain point is? Oh, I heard somebody up there. Did you see something? Oh. What's yours? Oh, people. Getting people to work with you to build? Oh, I understand. Just the management of the work itself? Okay. You just came in from working. Okay, got you. Yeah, sometimes it's the time management is a part of that. And I think in terms of like that being I think that's a pain point for a lot of people. It's like you have only so many hours in a day and you're trying to be as efficient as possible. How do you get to, how can you tell consistent brand storytelling when you actually have to fill orders and do this and do that? There's a lot that goes into this, so I understand that. And there are some resources too. Later on today, during I think the 3:30 hour, I'm gonna be back here doing like an AMA, Ask Me Anything. So any type of like coaching or things that you need, like I'm happy to do that later on today because I have ideas about productivity. Anybody else? Any big pain points? Yes, ma'am. Ooh, yeah. She was saying that basically because she's a wholesaler, there's so many folks, retailers, that she wants to be her clients, but some folks are scammers and taking advantage of your time and your business. And it also, because you're the wholesaler, it can look bad on you because you think you had a sale and it's out the door, but actually you're holding on to this, the supply. And so your biggest pain point is figuring out how to kind of like suss people out to make sure that they're good money and like a good client for you. And I'm sure you probably already have a criteria and a process, but like I'm sure that there's probably something in there that can be tweaked a bit so that before it even gets too far, like a nice little type form or something, but before it gets too far, that you can already say yes, no, But I know the feeling of like, now I have to work doubly as hard to make sure it's the right retailer and the right partner. That's interesting. I'm going to think more about that. Any other pain points? Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm a huge fan. She said one of her biggest pain points is getting the right guidance, the right coaching, to make sure that you're moving your business ahead. I'm a big fan of getting some damn good advice from people who have done it before, and aren't going to be too sensitive about my feelings. It's like, do this or don't, but do this, and you're on the right track. So finding good partners to have get some advice from. And I hope you guys are hearing this too, because I think what I've always learned in any room that I've been in is that we all have such great information and knowledge that we could be sharing amongst each other. So I hope you guys are hearing each other. So I have some tips here. I'm going to breeze through them because some of them you already know, but some tips is like, delivering exceptional customer service, training your team, offering multiple support channels, exceeding expectations. All of this is hard. It's not easy, but these are some things that you can consider thinking about. Creating your brand story and sharing it often. Earlier we were talking about what your values are and matching those values with tactics that you can use to share your story and share your brand. And where you do that, not every channel is going to be for you. Not everybody should be on YouTube. Not everybody should be on TikTok. Not everybody should be, find what works for you and where your people are. If your people are there, go there. If they ain't, don't. Don't make it too hard on yourself, And it's better even if there's an opportunity for you to create, if there's a sales channel in that. So even when you're doing your influencer marketing stuff, or even if you're just doing paid ads, figuring out who gets to tell that story with you or for you. It might not be you. It might be someone who is an influencer talent. It might be Reggie the Lion. It might be, it just depends on what you're doing and what's going to appeal to your customer. But incorporate your history, incorporate the storytelling, because people want to know who you are and why they want to get involved with you. Also, these personalized experiences. Sometimes I think we take things so far, there's nothing like somebody delivering something to your door that says your name on it. It's psychology. We're trained that way. So just thinking about what makes somebody happy and tailoring promotions and offerings to them. And then, fostering community around your brand. You can do this in the smallest of ways. This could be a small brand ambassadorship. This can be literally a little Zoom check-in with your highest customers, just to be wanted to check in on you, you can foster community around your brand, because once you drive up that word of mouth, the next person's gonna tell somebody, oh no, you have to use this, you have to do that. This is what they did for me. You're gonna really enjoy that. Again, that builds trust. And I think this is the last thing, just showing appreciation and recognizing loyalty. That's the same thing I was talking about a second ago. If there are little ways that you can do this, and also it's the little ways, it's not the big things, it's just the tiniest ways, that's gonna go really far with your customers. And it's something that you can scale over time. I got a receipt one time, and it had a little blurb at the bottom of it. It was almost not like a fortune cookie thing, but it was something cute like that. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. Or when you get those receipts and somebody puts a happy face on it, I'm like, they took the time to do that happy face. Something about it just feels nice, and we need more humanity and kindness in our world today. So, in closing, I just wanted to remind you guys that building a brand story and getting visible really starts with you and your values. It starts with knowing who you are, and then sharing that out in the world in the ways that make sense. There are definitely tactical ways, like having a brand guide, writing your brand narrative down, sharing that, but knowing that you can do that on your own, or you can do it with others, but it has to be consistently. I feel like that's the thing we always, in everything we do, whether it's that workout plan, eating well, not good, but healthy, it's the consistency of it all. So even with your storytelling, if you can get consistent, eventually I think what you'll find is that you start to know your story more, and then other people can tell your story on your behalf, which is the goal. And then building emotional bonds through messaging, and being able to measure your efforts, however that plays out for you. So if you have any questions, I'll be here. This stage is going to be all things influencer, social, digital. We have some really great conversations coming up. The next conversation is all about measuring virality and influencer marketing. So we're gonna have someone that's talking all about the numbers and the data, and also on the agency side, what it means to author that kind of campaign. So this is it for now. We're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna come back to you guys. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Tiffany Hardin. You're gonna see me all day. Thank you.